Okay, I'm here with Maxwell, Patterson, and Fiona, Gurney, straight off their new record. Um, this is my first one. This is Outside the Box. I'm JP. So I'm just gonna be chatting with these guys about music, about touring, about the sort of blurred lines of experimental music and all that. So I'm just gonna like go right off the bat with the simplest question, which is how did you two get to making this album? What was the genesis of it?
Yeah, I guess I'll answer. So, I guess we met because I put on a couple shows for Fiona's band when they toured here.
Just shake the baby till the love comes
Yeah.
out.
Um, and just through like some circumstances, we ended up actually playing together for one of the shows. And then yeah, like I don't know, it's like for me whenever I would collaborate with someone, I kind of have to like get a sense that they would be able to like that like with like my drumming and stuff that like if I asked them to do it or if I sent them something, it like wouldn't just like they just wouldn't shut down and like not be able to like follow along with what's going on.
Right.
So I
Because
just
you have a very specific style. I'm gonna skip ahead now. Like your style of drumming reminds. Are you a fan of the scram stuff? Are you familiar with that?
like screamo.
Yeah, like Orchid and
Yeah,
Hekra and stuff.
like Seisha.
Yeah, I love Seisha.
What's the Japanese one? Envy.
Envy? Yeah.
Yeah, like I actually kind of like I didn't get super into that music until after I kind of started playing this way, but I totally realized there is it's actually very similar style of drumming.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's totally I'm totally.
And I found the through thread between Fiona, your band, and Max with your IO project is that there's this like sense of like kind of panicked joy. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure, yeah.
Where it's like very it moves around very quickly, but it's also like it seems like you're both like very much like anticipating this like ecstasy moment. You know, I think that's definitely the through thread. And they're both like you're both mathy. That there's that too. And I think applied very differently. But okay, so how did that end up? So how did you actually end up? Were you improvising when you performed together? Was it Vancouver? Is that right?
Yeah.
The Red Gate. That's what I right. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. It was like kind of a decision that came within like half an hour. So
Yeah. You were like, I don't want to. I was like, should we talk about it? And you were like, I don't want to talk about it. That'll make it worse.
Yeah.
Was it out of necessity, or was it like you were just like, what, I don't want to play alone today, or?
Well, it's like I sort of she was just gonna play solo, and then I just kind of I think I kind of mentioned it before, and then like I guess she just didn't realize that it would be like improvisational or whatever. But yeah, like plus it's like for me it shows it's like kind of it's always like a struggle to warm up. So yeah, it's just kind of any opportunity to actually like play before I actually play is like I'll take it.
Yeah. You've insane endurance. Last time I saw you play at the Copper Owl. It's like I can barely. I used to be in the lead singer of like an improvised punk band. I could do 20 minutes of screaming before I was like, A, I'm not angry anymore, and B, like I'm exhausted. Although you do have the big milk jug of water, which I think is an integral part of the stage show. I think
Yeah.
So how did you get to the point of making a record and finding a label and like how did you piece it together? Because you're in Brooklyn, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he just hit me up and was like, "Do you want to improvise over like this 30-minute drum track I have?" And I was like, "Sure. That might turn out terrible." And then like it was sick. It was really sick. And then I sent him I took like 3 like passes at it and then sent it back to him, and then he like changed his total, like just totally like overhauled all the drum parts and stuff, and just like
worked around what you had sent him, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I noticed, okay, on the first track, I don't have the track list in front of me. I don't remember. Lying in State's the first track. Is there field recordings in that first track? Because it sounds like a New York street to me, you know?
Yeah, that track is so creepy. Like,
yeah,
it really like sets up the thing, I think. It has like some singing into a contact mic.
Okay.
And then,
yeah, that sounds like field recordings a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And Max, is this the first time you've done vocals on records before? Is that right?
There is some solo stuff that I've done vocals on, but like that was like a really long time ago, and I doubt honestly anyone's actually ever listened to those songs.
Right.
But like other than that, no. Like all the vocals that I've done have either been like other people doing them or like a lot of sampled vocals. But yeah, that was like the first time, especially like scream vocals. That's the first time I've ever done it like on a recording. Like I do screaming vocals like live and yeah, but yeah, pretty much. Which is like, yeah, it's kind of weird hearing your own voice. Like I don't know, I'm super not used to it.
Takes a long time to get used to that. That's for sure. So how did you go about? Because I guess like being that you're mostly instrumental, how did you go about coming up with lyrics for it? Was it spontaneous or was it cold and calculated? You
know. Well, I mean, like I always like kind of write stuff anyways, and just because of like the amount of song titles and album titles I have to come up to begin with, it's basically like I'm writing lyrics.
Yeah. That's a good
you
answer.
know, so it's like, yeah. I mean, I always have like pieces of paper in my pocket, so if something comes up in my head or I see something, I can just write it down. Because yeah, it's just, you know, it's just like a lot of things. It's just like a habit, I guess, of gone into, and then it's not that hard to translate into lyrics.
That makes sense.
But I was like my 100th record. The guy who did vocals on that, Ian Cook. I was just super inspired by like what he came up for that. So I don't know. I've just been trying to like copy kind of the way that he does stuff lately, just because I think it's really cool.
Yeah. So was this like a explicitly COVID collaboration, or was this in the makings before that? I don't know if that's a shitty question or not.
No, it was totally COVID. I don't know. I don't know if Max was gonna hit me up about that anyway, but it was like, yeah, I don't know, stranded inside our houses. And
yeah, because you're both prolific live performers, like for sure. So I think gotta find something.
Yeah. I had just like gotten off of like the same tour that I met Max on. Like
yeah, you did 100 dates, right?
It was 84, 85 or something like that in like 3 months, and we got back on March 7th, and then the city shut down on like March 16th. Wow.
It's good timing.
Yeah, and then Max hit me up like a week later or something like that.
Nice.
That was sick.
So can you tell me a little bit about what it's like touring at that level? Because it's a two-piece band. Like any person you put me in a car with for that long, I'm gonna hate them within like 30 days, let alone like however many X months that took.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Thankfully, like my like bandmate is like super patient. Like I'm the one that gets really pissy.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one that we did was like a month and a half, and so that was kind of like our reference point. And there was a lot of stuff went wrong interpersonally on that one. But I think like everyone after that, it's like just gotten better because our that's just like how we think of it now. It's like the month and a half was like that's just kind of what it is for us at this point.
Right.
So yeah,
like,
but it gets dicey.
Yeah, and you're meeting so many people that at a certain point it kind of must blur together, right? I'm sure
Yeah,
certain
it
people
does.
will stick with you, but
Yeah, thankfully we've had like a lot of people stand out. Like we've been very lucky and like pretty much met only good people.
hell yeah.
But yeah, it does start to blur, and I think going forward we might be trying to work in some more days off in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a
Check
lot.
out some
It's a lot.
restaurants. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. See a museum maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, what were some of the like best places and best scenes that you can recommend to my minuscule audience?
We
Like what
really
was some
like
stuff that stuck with you, I guess?
we really like Galveston, Texas.
Okay.
It's like weird and like feels kind of like a made up land. It's just an island of like I don't know. There's something very like magical about it. Old, creepy buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Where else? Galveston's really cool. Really nice people there. We really like Ojai, California. There's this guy Rob McGill who plays like free spazzy saxophone stuff. And it's just this like tiny little like kind of like old retired rich hippie town thing,
Okay.
and he just
Yeah.
like plays this stuff like this like really like wild music in there and like nice I don't know also nice people there. And then like what else like Connecticut has a really good like math rock like house show scene going on right now in like New Haven area.
Cool.
That's what it's called, right? That's the town.
What was this? What was I gonna say? Pull up my notes. Yeah. So, you both of your music is very it's very disciplined, from what I listened to at least. Where Max has this like endurance epic, like, it's a workout, man. It's a workout. And then your guitar style is very technical, changing time signatures and stuff a lot. So how do you what's the practice routine if there is one at all? Like do you have what's the how do you stay disciplined to accomplish these types of musical stylings? Let's start with Max.
Yeah. Well, so just drumming wise, I practice for 3 hours a day. I basically haven't taken a day off doing that for like 3 years.
Dude.
And yeah, it's just a constant battle to maintain discipline because like I don't know, because the drumming it's so physical that it's like I don't know if there really is like more than like 2 days off really. It's like for like a month afterwards, it's just like it feels horrible. Like I don't know. It's like yeah. I mean, it feels great to play like that, but I don't know. It's yeah. It's just really takes like a lot of time, and it's and it's like there's no end in sight because I'm really jealous because like I feel like guitar players. I mean, I also play guitar, and I know this because I play guitar. I can barely play any guitar and be like technically just as good as I was. But with the drumming, it's just like you lose that edge so much quicker. And I'm super jealous of people who only play guitar or whatever because like, I want to play like this very technical and busy kind of drumming. And it just takes like you kind of always have to keep that edge sharp. But yeah, I mean, it's good exercise. So,
Yeah, but I can only imagine, like the just like muscle memory of that versus a guitar, I suppose, is something that needs to be constantly sharp. And like, it's like a chef's knife or something, right?
Yeah, and yeah, it's just, there's not a whole lot of room to like get sloppy either because then it just, things just start kind of falling apart. It's like, it's falling apart like to begin with. Like that's the whole thing is it's like what would be the word for it? It's like out of control. Like I'm playing out of control. So, it's yeah. It's
like yeah. Yeah, you find that like I guess there's a what's the word, like a catharsis to it, I suppose, right?
Yeah, like when things are feeling good, yeah. Like
Yeah.
but yeah, like I mean, I think just generally like I don't I practice in the same way that I play. Like I don't I think it gets pretty frustrating to just kind of sit and work on stuff that like you are totally unfamiliar. Like I'm like just like I'm a big proponent of like sticking within your comfort zone, um, and kind of mainly just doing that because like I think if you start pushing yourself too far out and too often, like you kind of start, I guess like you get like a lot of like negative emotions that come in and then I don't know, and then it becomes like you kind
Like
of sit down.
forcing yourself out of your identity or whatever.
Yeah, well, and it's like you sit down to do your thing every day, and if that's sort of just you spiraling into like depression and like anxiety, and it's like, what's the point of doing it anymore? It's you have to like there's like an emotional connection that you have to your art that I think like you need to maintain, and I just see a lot of people where it's like just in general they push themselves too hard and then like there's just a lot of bad habits that come with just like when they sit down to like make music or practice or whatever, it's like then it's just they're in a really negative headspace and it's sort of like it affects their ability to make decisions and they can't really like trust what's going on and I don't know, I just think like it's good to maintain like confidence and like it's like if something's not feeling right, at least having having like the trust in yourself that like, eventually it's gonna start feeling good and feeling, like what you're doing. It's just yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely bothers me seeing people kind of get discouraged because of that when I, think they could be taking it a little easier on themselves.
Yeah. Well, I've always been like a big proponent of like if it's not fun and or like gratifying in a nearly tangible way, like don't do it. Like when it comes to something creative, right? Because
Yeah.
you can get lost by like I have an old bandmate, old friend. I won't name his name, who is like very obsessed with the cool factor, right? Like,
Mhm.
and he once told me and my guitar player that we didn't have the cool factor, which I still make fun of him for, but that's losing sight of it, and that's I mean that's I'd say that to him right now. I don't That's not a big deal, but like uh, it's got to be something. Yeah, is what you said basically. The cool factor is irrelevant. The yeah, and the all these exterior kind of concepts. If it's not fun and gratifying, living inside your own niche, then yeah, don't
Yeah.
try and do it just because it's
And
cool or just because it's in vogue or whatever, right?
yeah, I think there's also something to be said that like I think just saying just have fun, like that sounds so simple, but like
It
there's
does.
it's like it takes like extraordinary amounts of discipline to only like just experience like those positive emotions, like to sort of to not let negative emotions like affect you and like spiral out and really like just become like what doing whatever it is that you're doing, like that takes a lot of discipline. So it's like weird, it's like having fun is like requires like a lot of discipline.
Yeah. Well, I would say yes to any show I was offered for a very long time, but it stopped being fun. Like I don't particularly enjoy playing live 90% of the time, right? The last live show I played was with you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I would do it again. That being said, that was fun. But okay, so I guess I'll get back to the core of that question. Was like Fiona, how do you practice and or find your discipline if you do it all?
I'm pretty like bad about that. I get into the negative headspace a lot and have to like what I have to end up having to do is like remove myself from like the act of like just being in playing guitar and like put on some music and play, like not necessarily play with it, but like play while it's in the background or like
Yeah,
put on a TV show or something like that, like I have to like that like separates me enough from the guitar to just just play and just like have fun and like feel the strings and just enjoy that like that experience in itself. And I stopped focusing, like when I'm doing that, I'll stop focusing on like writing a song, or like I'll just play, and then I'll end up finding stuff that'll later turn into a song, or like
I think consciously writing instrumental music specifically, I think is something that's extraordinarily difficult. Like when I look at some of the old jazz standards and stuff too, it's like I can't believe somebody like sat down and composed this rather than just kind of ripped, right?
Yeah. I gotta like distract myself from it, because I just get into the negative like headspace pretty quick a lot of the time. Not all the time. Like sometimes when I've just been on a roll, sometimes I'll just get into like the vibe, you know, and like for a week I'll just be like, all I want to do is play. But most of the time it's a daily struggle. Yeah. To be honest.
But I think that like allows yourself to have those constant happy accidents where you kind of are like, all right, I'm going to play guitar, but I'm going to watch Seinfeld at the same time or whatever. Like you end up with those happy accidents.
Yeah, totally.
That make for good music, particularly good, I think, like more experimental music, I guess would be the word, you know?
Yeah, I think, just like, removing myself from the process. I'm not thinking, you know, you might not be thinking about it so hard that you're like, what is this going to be? You're just making sounds. You're just making sounds. The TV's making sounds. You're making sounds. It's all the same.
You're one and the same, symbiotic with Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. So, okay, like this is a question that I like to ask. A lot of people don't like this question in general, but it's just like what are your earliest influences, right? Like what was the stuff when you were like a teenager or even younger that you were like, oh, that's fucking cool, I want to do that? I guess I can't swear because this is going to be on the radio. Who cares? What was the shit that was like cool at a young age, even if it wasn't music necessarily? Like what's something that made you go, okay, I think I'm going to do creative stuff?
My parents are all into art and stuff, and just like kind of pushed like music and stuff as a kid. I wasn't like super into it right away, but I think that having that be like normalized was like, oh, it will just be a part of my life.
Right.
And then
are your parents musicians, or are they just like big patrons of it or whatever? Like,
yeah, my mom plays guitar, my dad plays drums, and then they also are like, they both have like their masters in like sculpture and ceramics, so they're cool. Like arty people, and so I think I just like naturally like gravitated toward it later, but then like got into like Slater Kinney was a huge influence.
Yeah, I did some interview about trying to learn the was it One Beat? You're trying to learn that record? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Great record. Great.
It's a great record.
They have that kind of that chaotic joy thing I was talking about before.
Yeah,
I think,
they
like,
do.
Especially on their later, not their newest album, but their like later records, especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Max, what about you?
Well, like the first music that I ever recall actually really like loving was Seal, like Seal 2, like from the 90s. Like I guess like Kiss from a Rose was in Batman.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know, and then I like music was like never. I always felt like I was like when I was like 12 or 13 or whatever, I felt like embarrassed that I really liked music or whatever. But like and then around that time, like you know, like classic rock, like Pink Floyd and like Black Sabbath.
Yeah. My dad always says that everybody needs to go through a Led Zeppelin phase to be good at music, for example.
I mean, personally, like now,
He's a boomer.
I don't like Led Zeppelin a whole lot, but I actually still really love Black Sabbath. Like, I think that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's still amazing.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Good driving music, man.
But, like, and then when I was, like, a teenager, though, like, because, like, I guess, like, when I was a teenager, like, 14 or 15, that was, like, 2007, 2008. That's kind of like when like a lot of like that late 90s, early 2000s, like post-hardcore, post-rock, like instrumental music, math rock, like all that stuff like started surfacing like on YouTube and stuff like that. And there was kind of like, I guess it was sort of like a realization of like all these different scenes just coming onto the internet. and it's sort of just like friends of mine and me, like it would be sort of like we would just like try to like compete finding like these really cool, like this really cool music. And like that was sort of the stuff where it was like the first thing where it's like I felt like we were like finding it ourselves, where it was like stuff that other people didn't know about. And like like that stuff's always just been super special. And then like an album that is like was like super important to me was actually like a Life Forms by the Future Sound of London.
Oh yeah, I love the Future Sound of London. Yeah.
Like I don't know, it was just like I love that idea. Like I think Gary Cobain, like he said it like at some point or whatever, he just wanted to make an album that was just completely immersive. And like and how I found out about Future Sound of London too was just like at Lyle's place. Me and a friend, we just found a copy of like the My Kingdom EP in the dollar bin, and it just has that really cool album cover. And it was like we just had no idea what it was, and it's and like that was really cool. Like, and then that kind of spawned like a whole like kind of lifelong love that I've had since, like for like electronic music.
Okay. Yeah, that's the Future Sound of London too. They do have that like very grabbing artwork, you know. It's like kind of psychedelic, kind of like Fifth Element kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah. Like I was actually saying this to Fiona the other day. Like I really love like the new, like kind of like new agey, sort of like kind of futuristic, but like kind of like early 90s like computer generated kind of look. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
they just did that.
Too.
And Life Forms, like that is that aesthetic is like that's like whatever that is, like that's the soundtrack to that, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. They match, you know.
Yeah. And I don't know, I just think they had something really cool in that album that like wasn't there like in that, because there's that other stuff that was coming out of the UK, like Autechre and like Aphex Twin, like it didn't have the same quality. Like I think, well, because like they were like using a lot of samples, I feel too, and which is another cool thing. I mean, it's like I didn't realize until later, like a lot of that music is actually just like Blade Runner samples.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, and I don't know. There was some sort of there's a quality to that album where I feel like if you were to just show it to someone just right away, it would be like, okay, this is kind of cool. It's sort of an album where it's like I feel everyone who really loves that album has like some sort of story about like their life and like what was going on when they listened to that. And I kind of like stuff like that where it's like, I don't know, like you just kind of like project what was going on into your life like on that, because the music just like allows for it. It's receptive to it, I guess, through like atmosphere atmosphere and yeah.
It's very like cinematic music compared to the like more Warp Recordsy stuff from the same time too. Like Autechre, not very cinematic music, very cold. I love Autechre, but it's very cold. Aphex Twin is very very other than his maybe second ambient record, it's very cold as well and clinical.
An amazing song I actually heard just the other day that I'd never heard before was the song that Aphex Twin he produced a song for 9 Inch Nails back in the day, and it sounds like that like in like that 2005 era, like very industrial dubstep, but it was like from like 96, like which is like yeah it was pretty cool. Like I don't know, it's yeah, I kind of want to check out more of that.
Yeah, I'll listen to that after this. I know 9 Inch Nails too is one of those bands that's aged interestingly, I would say, you know.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say well, but I wouldn't say bad either. It's just like Trent has aged interestingly. You know, listening to that Pretty Hate Machine, it's a hell of a listen in 2020. You know. Okay, so Fiona, what's getting your like goat these days? What's some like even themes, films, whatever? Is there any like what's been stimulating your imagination?
Well, I was just reading up on Bitcoin because I don't understand it before this call. Really suddenly interested in Bitcoin. A little late to the game.
Better late than never.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I feel like during this time I all of a sudden have a lot more space in my brain to start like absorbing, um, just absorbing stuff. I've been like listening to a lot of Steve Gunn, just this guitar player, and that's like, it's not even like that like revolutionary, but I've really been just enjoying like sitting and like appreciating music that's a little more like simple, because I've been absorbed in music that's like chaotic and like high energy, and so having something that's like a little more like patient and feels caring. I'm gonna use the word caring.
Steve Gunn's music is caring, I would say. I've only listened to him a little bit. I had worked with a chef who was a big fan of Steve Gunn.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been like really digging that. I also just heard about Emma Ruth Rundle the other day and am stoked on her. I guess she did an album with Thou that I have yet to check out, but
Thou.
But
I forgot about Thou.
That should be good.
Cool.
Should be good. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So how did you guys link up with the Absurd Tracks? That's out of Hong Kong, or is that another label?
No, like Absurd Tracks, and then they just Gavin from Absurd Tracks and this other guy Cedric, who's also in Hong Kong. They started up like a sister tape label that's like, I think the plan for them is like, well, I mean, they're gonna release anything, but kind of like more, I think like kind of punk and noise stuff. But Absurd Tracks is so for my 100th album, I put it out on a label called Quantum Natives, and they're just sort of, I mean, it's like there's sort of like a tight-knit scene of like labels and artists kind of that are part of that world that Absurd Tracks is sort of just linked in with. So I mean, it kind of came together pretty easy because I think Gavin, I mean, he was already aware of my music to begin with, and it came together super easy. So I mean, that's kind of been my experience with labels in general. Like I've because like my friend Will City, he sort of like cleared the path for me in far as like people he knows, because like I didn't like, it was, I mean, I didn't really realize it at the time or whatever, but it's like, you know, I kind of asked him once a couple of years ago, like, oh, do you think you know anything? I had like a record that I wanted to put out, and I asked him, oh, do you think anyone would be interested? And like right away, he's like gave me like a list of like 12 different people to talk to and be like, yeah, like they know your stuff. I've showed them to you and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of always come together pretty easy. So, but yeah, cool. And I kind of feel that those labels, I don't know, I kind of get a weird feeling from more traditional like rock and punk labels that they're very like focused around putting out like physical media, and like very like the people who run them are kind of like burnt out, kind of like more like jaded middle-aged dudes who like are kind of really closed-minded about the music that they listen to, and they're very specific. But like I feel like the more like electronic world that's going on right now, it's like people are just like really open-minded to like anything really, as long as it's like cool and like you're doing something crazy that's pushing the envelope.
I feel like they have a much better handle on like what it is to like put out some music on a label. Like right now, like the rock labels and stuff just have the whole, you know, they have history on their side, I guess, to like they have a standard that they're trying to like live up to that is maybe not with the times all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the label in general is like kind of an archaic concept. Like I think avoiding as many middlemen as possible is generally a good move. Just like learn how to write a decent email, and you could probably get pretty far, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I think like the concept of a label, it's at least like the stuff that I'm associated with it, that like I associate with it, it's more just like a scene really, like of like people kind of spread apart like further, like because then it's like, because it's not like the stuff on these labels are like being signed and like you're signing contracts and stuff like that. It's sort of just like like-minded people. It's I don't know. I mean, there's like a lot of really cool and interesting people and artists that I've been exposed to like by working with these people.
Yeah, because I think the future is looking more at curation than it is
Yeah,
about
yeah.
promotion, if that makes sense, right?
Mm.
So when I've come across like specifically with like ambient music, I'll listen to a couple records and I'll go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna check this website every week, just simply because I'm like, okay, I like this kind of ambient music. But that's more curation because I'm listening from my computer. You know what I mean? It's than it is even because like plenty of these labels don't put out CDs anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like, and it's not like a like distribution thing where it's like they're getting put in like record stores.
mhm.
Yeah. Which I mean, yeah, and I mean, I like, yeah, I mean, that's not super important anymore, really. Because I mean, it's also like, I mean, most record stores that exist now, like the records that are in there, like you can just go into like a record store and be like, hey, what's it called? Consignment? Like, do you just do consignment? And then, if they do, like they'll buy some of your records and put them in there.
Yeah, that's what I've done in the past.
Yeah.
I never sold a single one. That being said, but
I've never gotten a consignment deal. I don't think it was just like we'll buy them for $1 or you can put them here and that's fine.
yeah, I know. Yeah, Victoria, like I think it's small enough where it's like, oh yeah, like you're a friend of this friend.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more feasible. Specifically, like Ditch and Cavity are the two places where I do.
Yeah. Like Andy from Cavity's really supportive, and
He's the best. He's like
yeah.
the glue of this city, man. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the Victoria music scene is like, it's like 3 people who like are facilitating like 90% of what's going on, and like, yeah.
Would you name drop who you think those 3 people are? I don't know if that's a fair question.
Well, like I would say just personally, I think like Rob and Steven from Subculture Club
Yeah,
are
those are good
like,
dudes.
yeah, and Andy from
Yeah.
Kevin Curiosity. Like I think those are the 3 people who are like the really like the most open minded to like
For sure.
to like what. Yeah, they're just open minded and like willing to like give things a chance without it being like, this isn't that genre, or like this wouldn't work, or
Yeah.
or
Those guys are very accessible too. Like you could message them right now and they would respond before the time we were done talking, probably.
yeah.
No matter what you said, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
totally.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask you about your thoughts on the Victoria music scene because I'm a bit like I'm all on the internet now. You know what I mean? Like I think I'm out of touch over the last couple of years. But I'm gonna ask you, Fiona, about what your world in Brooklyn kind of looks like and who's all there and is it good? Is it bad? Is it like
it exists. There's there's a lot of stuff here. And I think that you can probably find whatever you're looking for. I feel like I'm honestly like not a very good like judge on it because like I've had a really hard time like kind of finding people like to like regularly hang out around like there or and play shows with. I think there's a lot of people who are trying to like make music their like money making job here, which so I guess like I grew up in Seattle and so I'm used to the like you're playing music to make friends like thing, just that being like the normal thing, and I don't think that is necessarily how people think about it here. It seems like there are friend groups, but I'm not sure if that's the main goal for a lot of people that I've come into contact with.
Clout chasing, I guess. Then
yeah, which is weird, very weird to navigate because there's a lot of really cool stuff, but then it feels like when you meet those people, you're like, oh, they're not here to be my friend.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have I'm sinfully overexcited often when I like meet fellow musicians and stuff, and that can go south very quickly.
Totally, yeah.
Where you're just excited to be there,
Exactly.
Especially when I was younger, for sure. That was like, yeah, and I was heavily drinking. So,
sure.
yeah. Okay, yeah. What else do I got? I was gonna ask specifically about track 3 on the album. It kind of sounds like Nirvana. Yeah, is that accurate? Is basically my question.
I mean, probably. I listened to a lot of Nirvana at one
Okay.
point in my life.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds like it kind of sounds like a Nirvana riff, kind of fucked up with Max like just ripping on top of it. But that track 3 specifically too doesn't, even though the drums are so like hectic and quick, if you will. It's actually like a pretty peaceful tune, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a sense of familiarity with it. You know what I mean? That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. I actually, when I like listened back to it the first time, I was like, weird. This is like something about this whole thing feels very familiar, which is strange.
I like it. Yeah, I listened to it at 2 a.m. last night,
Nice.
and it felt appropriate.
It'll wear you out.
Yeah. It was pretty good. I was just like sitting in my room after eating Domino's and was just like, all right, let's go. Let's see what else. I don't know if I have any other formal questions. Actually, you know what? Yes, I do. Okay, let's go back to like when I was talking about the early influences. But like, what was the beginning with actually playing instruments? Where did it start? Like, I dug up some of the interviews that you've done, Fiona. So I know that you were in like jazz band and you played saxophone. I know that much. Can you tell me a bit about that more candidly, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I took like some piano lessons when I was like 8 or something. Maybe I was younger. I might have been like 6, and my mom couldn't get me to practice, and so she stopped paying for those. And
I did the exact same thing with me. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and then I picked up saxophone in 4th grade because you could get out of class for an hour like twice a week. And also because my sister had a friend who played saxophone, and I thought her friend was very cool, and so I was seeking to emulate that.
Yeah.
And then that lasted through middle school. And then I started taking private saxophone lessons in like 8th grade in preparation of like joining a high school jazz band, but decided that I did not care enough about that instrument to like really pursue that.
Teenagers and horn instruments, like just, or I guess it's an instrument technically, but like it's just like not cool.
I was like,
now I think it's the coolest. But.
Totally. I like had a meeting with my teacher. I was like, I'm not gonna continue playing, and he was like, what are we even doing here? He was like offended that I like wasted his time or something. I was like, that's so
He was
stupid.
getting paid.
I know. I was like, you're getting paid, and also like music is important, even if I hate it.
Yes.
And but then back in like a year prior, in 7th grade for my 13th birthday, my mom just like randomly bought me an electric guitar and an amp. And I don't know if I asked for that. Like, I have no idea, but it was a complete surprise. And it just like made sense to me. Like, something about the visual and physical aspects about it just kind of made sense, and it stuck. Yeah.
And I guess ever since then.
Yeah, like I think maybe I like picked it up and then put it down for like 6 months, but then like after I was like 14, it was
yeah.
But I was doing that instead of doing homework.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah. I think so.
Would you ever go back to the sax?
I think now I maybe have developed a more like intellectual appreciation for it. And I think that if I were to go back to it, I think I would understand it a little bit better. Like, I think that I have a better handle on how horn instruments are like. They do take your whole body to play. Like, they are more dynamic than how I was like approaching it, and I think that I might be able to carry that into there. But I don't know if I would go back to saxophone. I think that in my mind, I'd like to pick up trumpet or like something with less actual notes, and it's more like about embouchure. So like
trombone.
Or trombone, yeah. Or like cello.
Cello's a beautiful
I would
instrument.
love to play cello.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Yeah. You know, I hate about the horn instruments and stuff. I say it's a horn, but like, you know, the band teacher behind me in my head is like, it's a woodwind. But is that you can only play one note at a time. I hate. I mean, there's obviously you could like do the squeaky thing, or it's like fucking, but that's you know not not relevant really. But it sucks that you could only play one note. Piano, you could play plenty of notes. Stringed instrument, any stringed instrument, you could play plenty of notes. Drums, you can hit four things, maybe 5 at a time if you like use your head or something. You know.
Yeah. I think that.
I guess, and then the kick drum too. So.
I think those kind of instruments like make it hard for kids to be super into because like you can't play with yourself. You're playing one singular thing at like any time. And like the exciting stuff is like drums where you're like flailing and or like piano isn't exciting to a lot of kids, I don't think, but like it feels more practical because it's like you can create an entire it feels more like you can create an entire song on it versus like just playing one single note.
Piano is very like mathematically logical too, which I like about it. You know, it's like those are the notes laid out. All
they are.
They're right there. No bullshit.
You can't really do much else.
Yeah. Okay, Max. How did you get? I have no idea with how you got started with the drums, so I'm curious about that.
Well, like I sort of like, I mean, like when I was like a really little kid and stuff like that, like my parents like you know, like piano lessons and stuff like that. And there was like musical experiences that kind of came and went. Like I did like, you know, for short periods of time, like there was like guitar and like drums and stuff like that. But like, you know, it was kind of just stuff that kind of floated or like I kind of just floated around doing that. And like my parents, they were very like, you know, encouraging if like I ever showed interest in something like that. But I really just like, I started playing drums, like really like I would consider like when I was 17 and guitar just like kind of shortly after that. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I guess because of just the music that I was like, I sort of like really had like an idea of like the kind of music that I really loved. And like, I guess like just ultimately that like I wanted to make. Because I started making my own music like pretty quickly after I started playing. It was just something like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it was just something that like I kind of just, at that point, I kind of just fell in love with it. Like, and it's kind of been like that ever since. It's kind of weird how like, I don't know, like I never really had like a serious musical endeavor until like that late. But yeah.
Did you ever play in any bands or anything? I also have no idea about that.
Like not really. Like there was friends that I had that sort of like I sort of like learned, you know, like under their patience, you know. I mean, I think I was pretty good like pretty quickly just because of like the time that I put into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I never had like any experience where it was like I was in a band and we were playing shows. It's just like, I don't know. It's just kind of always been like my own thing.
Right. And like from what we talked about before about the sort of discipline and comfort thing, I guess it's like, seems like you probably understood that pretty quick. You're like, I want to do my thing. Fuck everyone else, you know, like maybe fuck everyone else is a bit extreme, but you know.
Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like I had an idea really like the music that I even make to this day, like I had that like in my head, like pretty crystallized, like, you know, when I was like 18 years old, like I had like a pretty specific idea, like it would like play in my head, like what I wanted to hear. And then it was just kind of like a quest to kind of to like get to the point where it could actually like where everything like made sense of like how to do that, or like I don't know, just the mindset that I needed to make that happen. But then yeah, because there was sort of a period like right around like I mean, like 2014, like I like recorded and played music for years, but like 2014 was when I did like the first IO album, and like that was just kind of a moment where it just like things just totally clicked, and like I don't know, like I caught some sort of fire or whatever, and it just kind of hasn't ever ended since. Like it's I don't know, like it's totally my musical career has totally like evolved in weird ways, but like I don't know, it's pretty cool. Like I really really love playing and making music and listening to music, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ever since I first came across you and your stuff, I've been very just impressed by the discipline and the clear like single-minded passion is like evident, from both the way it sounds and the way it's presented.
Yeah, I mean,
And the proliferation also. Like,
I definitely have. I'm the kind of person who has like a one-track mind. Yeah, and yeah. I mean, you know, it's just. I mean, on my own, the stuff that I make is, kind of goes around and around, and it doesn't really go anywhere. But like to me, it kind of makes sense. Like I see where it's going, and I see the evolution. But like I guess people looking, from the outside, like see someone doing something crazy, like I don't know. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to other people, but
I don't know. I think there's like if you're, paying attention, at least it seems you have a there's like a care and organization to kind of the proliferation, right?
yeah. I mean, like that's like
that means that like there is this greater driving force than it is than it simply may appear surface level, right?
like I personally am really proud of everything that like pretty much there's actually one album that I haven't listened to in years, but like at the time I really felt like this wasn't something I was proud of at all. And like I think that's like just the one thing that I've put out there where it's like if I probably heard it I'd be like like but like I'm super proud of everything that I made, and it's like there'll be like periods of time where I'll like go back. Like I think like the stuff that I was like I put out like I think I put out like 15 albums like just before like December like last year.
Like 2018.
2019. It was sort of like when I was trying to get to 100.
Yeah.
And I
love that shit. I love that shit. Yeah.
I recently like just went and I just kind of skimmed through it and listened to quite a bit of it. And like I was just surprised to like I thought it was really good, like what I was doing. Like I don't know. It's just kind of cool. And it's cool. Like it's cool having so much stuff that it's like I'm not even really aware anymore of like what most of it is. It's super cool like going back and like being able to hear it, like I'm rediscovering like what was going on, just like completely forgetting about like some certain part or whatever that was happening. And because I think that's a healthy way to listen to your music too, because yeah, if you're listening, I think like the worst way you can approach to listening to your own music is listening to it with the mindset of being like I could change that, or like this could be different, because like I don't know, it's because like when do you ever listen to someone else's music like that and like think along those lines? Like you just don't do that. Like so I don't know, it's kind of feels kind of healthy to actually like find a way to listen and appreciate your music just being like you're discovering it again.
That's taken that is something very difficult for me and the music I make to go back and listen to and be like, this is like I like my production was so bad for so long, and I listened to it and I'm like, these were good ideas, but it sounds so bad.
My production is still terrible. Like
I was gonna ask, how do you record the drums? I wanted to know that too. What's the move?
So it's like, I guess like I think there are people out there who assume that like I know how to record music, or like that like I have any kind of recording gear at all. But like, so drumming is like, those like $99 Tascam field recorders that people use. So
I have one. I have one right next to me. Yeah.
So I use that just like sitting on a pillow to mic the bass drum, and then I have like this like Nikon camera from like 2011 that I just like use as like an overhead, I guess, just to like mic the drums, and then and then I have like I just have these like Fender practice amps. It's like the Fender version of like those like Line 6 Spider 2s, and it just has like
I have one of
it has
those
like
to the left of
USB
me.
in.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what I've recorded all my music with, is that and like some samples and stuff like that. And I work within Audacity. I've never I've never used a DAW of any kind ever. I would have no idea how to do it. And
God.
that's just like, I don't know.
Rocks.
I don't want anything to change really in that process. Like, I don't know.
I used Audacity because I didn't like for this whole record because I didn't have anything else, and I hated it so much that I was like, where's my old Pro Tools subscription? I like had my dad mail me like all the
because Audacity, Audacity, it's so hard to move things around,
and everything you do is final.
Because it imprints effects, right? I like the Audacity reverb though. I think it's pretty good.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's pretty good. The compression is too numbery. I don't know what any of that means.
Like I don't know. I used to. I don't. Even within Audacity, like I don't even know how to do a lot really, but like I do in a weird way. Like I've developed very weird methods of like how I do things that, I don't know. But like I think it's kind of cool because it's like I found like my own weird way and my own weird sound of doing something, because like I don't know, and I think it just gives it a unique sound.
Yeah, well, that goes back to what you were saying too about the comfort thing. You're like, this works for me.
Totally.
Don't tell me to switch to Ableton. This works for me.
Like, and I've always gone into the mentality like I'm a huge fan of Burial, and I mean he like Untrue, his first two albums, like I mean if it's
Cubase, right?
No, like he used an old version of SoundForge.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's
like the stock. Like he made. And like
it's unquantized too, right? Like
well, I mean there's no MIDI, like there's no, it's like I think that old version of SoundForge he used it's like I've never used it, but like I think like it could actually only do like one track at a time. Like I have no idea how he made that or whatever, but it's like I don't know, like he was just someone where he had I mean he just made his own sound, and he made his own way, and it
sounds great.
Amazing. Like
So like the record you guys did together gave me the similar feeling to Untrue by Burial, in that it feels like it kind of exists. Like it felt like this is dumb, and maybe just because I was like doing like research while I was listening to it, if you will, but like it sounded like what I imagine like a very taxi laden late night Brooklyn, and not wanting to be there, being like, fuck, I gotta trek home, like and then finding comfort as you go, because you're like, wait, I've done this before, and then I don't know, like, and then eventually the satisfaction of coming home. That's a theme I've always thought is very strong, is that kind of the transport theme, if you will, the commute.
I actually think that's something that I actually really liked about this, is because I mean usually it's actually me, like I mean it's just like by myself, like it's obviously always me just sort of like creating like the emotional content or like the emotional narrative of the music that I do. And even with the City and Io stuff, like I mean that is like Will sending me his sketches, and I sort of like flesh out like what's going on, and then we kind of go back and forth with like details and like and really like getting it all together. But like this is like one of the first times where it's like someone else, like like someone else had like the plot line for like their own thing, and it was someone else's like emotions and like emotional direction, and then I was there reacting to it. Because like my typical process is like I have I have like a 30-minute drum thing or something like that, or like, and then I just sort of add guitar over it, and then I just kind of work on that until it's done. But this was like the first time like where it's like, you know, I essentially gave her something to just like play to, and then I took away what I did, like what I had, and then just reacted to it. Which I mean, yeah, I mean, because I mean it would to me it wouldn't be very satisfying to just like have the process be like what I normally do, but someone else is just doing part of it. Like it's a different and unique process to it, and I don't know, it makes it worthwhile for me to like think, to be excited about it. And it came out really cool. Like it's just, yeah.
Sorry, my internet's screwing up right now a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I found the record too. It's this very like new concept almost, that it kind of reminded me of like what like digital free jazz would be, if that makes sense. In that you it's free in that like because you have two separate parts that don't necessarily like because you're not playing together. It's free, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Where it's this sort of like kind of absurd concept, but it's still like it's very in the like kind of free jazzy spirit, I think. I don't know if that sounds like nonsense what I just said or not, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean that's how I typically that's what I'm going for, I think.
Yeah. But I guess with the collaborative thing too, where it's like, you know, okay, we have some ideas here, but do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You know, channel something ineffable. You know, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool and pretty exciting.
Yeah, there's definitely a digital quality to it that is like really new for me. Like I'm so used to like trying to get the most accurate sound, and like for this, like I just put a contact mic on a really shitty crappy acoustic guitar that I have, and the way you recorded the drums, it just like fit in a really weird way, like it's like lo-fi, but it's like not really that.
No,
lo-fi.
it's pretty
like,
it's pretty polished sounding. I listened to
it's like
these headphones last night, and it sounded great.
It's weird. Yeah, there's something very strange. It's cool. It's really cool. And then I like really like the like Max added like extra little guitar like stuff on top of it that were really polished sounding, which made it sound even more like futuristic and like just a strange mix of production qualities that like I don't know.
Worked out. Because there is the thing, like if it sounds good, it is good. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
like I don't know if you remember like Mike Dean. He's like a hip hop guy. He mixed I think Kanye's last 5 albums among a bunch of other people. Yeah, and he's like people would criticize him because his music was like you would put it into a DAW or whatever, and it would be blown out, right? It would be redlining. And he was like, "Yeah, does it sound good though?" That's all he would ever say. He's like, "Does it sound good to you?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, it sounds pretty good." And he's like, "I don't know what any of this shit does. I just keep fucking with it till it sounds good to me."
I mean, that's the popular sound now. Everything's blown out. Everything's
I know.
Because I mean, you know, it sounds good, but I mean, it's gotten a little kind of commercialized, but
yeah,
you know.
like putting together this radio show, I've been playing a lot of like the kind of like PC music stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of forefront of experimental music in my eyes. The AJ Cooks and the Charlie XCXs and Sophie and stuff. But you see those like waves or whatever, those MP3s. It's just a big black bar.
Yeah.
It's completely blown out. Like yeah.
Like do you like are you aware of Dream Crusher at all?
Nope.
Oh. Well, they're like a Brooklyn artist, but I mean it's like it's all just kind of sampled stuff, but it's just completely distorted with just like really distorted screaming vocals. Yeah.
Okay, I'm into that.
I think it's very like cutting edge noise music. Like it's yeah, they're like a really cool artist. I think they're also very like prolific as well. Like yeah, but it's their last couple of albums were like really interesting. And there's even like a couple of songs in it where it's like the music is literally just like someone else's track, just like really distorted. Like I can't remember the name, but it was like, so it was like a hip hop beat that sampled Genesis, and then they sampled that song and just like chopped it a few times and just add this like crazy distortion. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's like genius. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the kind of like the vaporwave is its own thing, but like the nightcore-ish, I guess. I'm sure you're familiar with that, Max. Nightcore.
Somewhat, yeah. Like,
or I guess in the world of that kind of backwards music making, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. You guys want to talk about anything else? You got anything you want to talk about? What's next? How about what's next for both of you individually, creatively, or even spiritually, employment wise, whatever? What's next?
I'm not totally sure. I'm like starting to chip away at like some songs that I've been sitting on for like a really long time. And like kind of always like had a band in mind for it, but now that I'm alone, I'm like, oh, maybe I should just like see if I can make this work myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like just like a weird time, just kind
Sure
of
is.
waiting and trying to fill it with something. So yeah, that seems like a good direction for me to explore right now while I have the time, you know,
Yeah.
and see if it pans out. But it's hard for me not to like, you know, judge it while I'm doing it. So I'm trying to like just make rough demos. Just do it. Just go through the processes. Go to the next one. See what you can come up with. Nothing's final.
Yeah.
You can still have your band dream if you want. You know.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
So you aren't jamming at all, I guess, because of COVID. Like it's not happening.
Not really. My bandmates he went back to Seattle for
Oh, okay.
the duration of this, and I live in a house where there's like a bunch of people who play music, but no one's really been doing it. So it's been pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. Yeah. I've been practicing drums a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I guess because I don't know. I think in Brooklyn the whole COVID thing is probably looking a little bit different than it is in Victoria. We have it pretty good here, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like weirdly like normal now.
Okay.
Here. But it definitely is different. It's definitely different. But like the museums are open now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, people are outside on the street drinking. It's weird. It's so bizarre.
Yeah. Do you guys have you're doing the outdoor patio thing there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All up in the street.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's like good business, but I think it seems like the outdoor patio thing seems more about optics to me than it does about actually not spreading COVID, if that makes sense.
More about optics?
Like it looks
Like,
good. It looks good rather than
yeah, I'm sure
having-
I mean, yeah. Like yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's strange. Seeing people. I mean, they're still packed together. It's like this like not socially distanced thing. It's really weird. I went to like a couple bars and like at one of them we were just like crammed into this back patio that like I mean we were like a foot away from the person behind us. It was, like,
yeah. Yeah, it's the same here.
So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Max, what's next for you?
Well, me and Will, we actually have like the second City and Isle record. Like,
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's like almost done. I don't know when we're gonna release it, because like I mean, like it would be really sweet to like be able to release it and then like tour it. So I mean, we might not release that for a little while.
It might
Like,
take a little while. I don't know. I
yeah.
think probably
Like, I
next
think it's,
summer
like-
at the earliest.
Yeah, like I say this about everything that I make though. Like I think it's like a really, really good record. But yeah, and then like I mean, you know, I'm just doing my solo stuff. I'm not really releasing my solo stuff like lately, just because like I don't know, I just haven't really felt like it. But like I have a ton of stuff made. And yeah, like I don't know, like I've kind of been like toying with the idea of like maybe like releasing like 90 albums or something like at once.
Jeez.
I don't know. Like I don't want to like
save room for the rest of us, you know, like.
But like I don't know, like I mean, I just get these feelings or whatever. Like I kind of have to like follow just whatever my heart's saying with stuff like that, and it just keeps telling me weird things like that. So but I don't want anyone to like. I don't want to hold myself to that or whatever. But yeah, and then like also like the on that topic and stuff like that, like just thinking a lot about like how I'm gonna like I'm trying to like doing like a 1,000 hour long drum album. Like
How many days is that? Like,
I think a lot. Like so like 100 hours is like 4 days. So I guess 1,000 would be like what, like 40? I know how you can do it though. Like I hope that should be out like semi soon, relatively.
wait, your 1,000 hour album should be out semi soon?
Yeah.
Huh. That's
oh my God.
man.
Wait, it's actually like done? Or you...
No, but like, well, I mean, like I'm just hoarding like recordings and stuff like that, and yeah. But like I feel like I have a method. Like how I'm thinking of doing it is so it's like I just kind of get more mileage out of each like drum recording because it's like kind of frustrating. I also I want to go out and like get more cameras so I can, because like I have like the camera that I have right now, it can record a 29-minute clip and then it doesn't have enough battery to record anything else, and like it doesn't recharge fast enough. And it's such an old camera that I can't get new ones. I just kind of want to go out and get like 5 of them that are just like it, so I can like record for like more than half an hour a day. Like it would be sweet to get 2 hours. So it's like if I like my idea would be like I would have like the one drum track like play, and then that would be a track, and then it would be 2 drum tracks. Like that drum track would have another drum track added to it, and then another drum track added to it, and then another drum track added to it, and then it would just go in sequences of like that drum track being like, okay, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 of them all at once. Yeah, because I think that I don't know. I haven't experimented with. I've experimented a lot with doing 2 drum tracks at once, but yeah, I think going up to 4 will sound pretty cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's wild. Truly.
That's awesome. How do you
Yeah.
like, edit that? Like, how would you even? You wouldn't edit it? I'm take it. You just kind of.
Yeah, I would like edit it. Like, I don't know. I'd probably like pan them. Like, I don't know what you mean by editing. Like,
just like I guess like you wouldn't add too much. I guess after the fact, it would be.
No, well, like I think it would mostly be solo drumming, but yeah. It would be cool to also have like someone do like algorithmic type stuff to it or whatever, like generative music, like that they could make that. But then finding someone who's willing to do that and like, you know, because I don't know, I feel like I
might know a couple people for you.
Yeah,
for that.
like the algorithmic generative musicians are not really like the most reliable bunch. I feel.
I could only imagine.
They're messing around with their super collider and their max patches, and you know.
Oh yeah, Max for Live is where I like was like, hey, this is where I'm out. This is as complicated as I'm gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's yeah. I'm tired just thinking about that, dude. Like, and I drank 2 yerba mates while we did this. So.
Yeah. Well, it's the crazy thing is people are actually listening to the whole thing of like the 100-hour long album. Like it's like people are like emailing me and messaging me being like, I'm gonna listen to the whole thing, or I have listened to the whole thing, or they're on the internet arguing about like if someone else has listened to the whole thing, like enough to like judge if it's crap or not, or you know.
That's awesome.
That's so
because that's like. Yeah, that's the endurance art thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, me and an older roommate of mine were so obsessed with anything that, like, length. You know, we set out to review every episode of Sailor Moon, like on like webcam reviews, right? That is less of a beast than what you're doing. There's 200 episodes of Sailor Moon. We gave up at 75.
Yeah.
Like, and you have already accomplished a 100-hour fucking record.
Yeah, and I guess there's a community of people out there, like the artist Bull of Heaven. Like I never heard of them before until I got into this or whatever. But like I guess they make just like ridiculously long like generative ambient stuff. And there's like people who just they'll listen to like an album that's like 3 months long or something like that. You know? There's yeah, you know.
It's like a
it's
video game
yeah,
kind of. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, you know. It's the community of anime profile pictures and
yeah, yeah. They're not. Yeah. That's sick. I mean, yeah, like that's awesome. That yeah. It's just what a wild world we live in, Max. Hey, like yeah.
Yeah. What do you think you'll upload the? How long did it take to upload the 104-hour one?
I mean, it kind of like, it was like there was like a weekend where I was like just kind of like uploading it in the background because it's like, so it's like, like for that, like I paid for like a Bandcamp premium subscription, but it's like I know like from before because I used to like upload like stems and stuff like that on another account. Like you can only actually batch upload like 34 tracks or something before it crashes the site. So it was like uploading like a lot of tracks and it took like 6 hours a day for like 3 days.
Wow. 1,000 hours, it'll come out like,
Yeah, I guess
a couple months after.
It'll take a couple of weeks to upload. Yeah. And apparently people
Your poor computer.
Yeah. Like I've heard from a lot of people that like when they try downloading the album, like it downloads or something, or it basically crashes their computer.
Yeah, that would kill my computer without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That rocks. That rocks. Okay, well, I think we'll call it there. Stay tuned. Maxwell Patterson, Fiona Gurney. Thanks for listening. If you did, I'm gonna stop recording right now.